What's up, guys? Cody here from PittsburghHealthHub.com, coming to you live from the athletic training facilities here at Robert Morris University in Moon Township. As you recall, last week I wrote an article on concussion awareness with NFL players actually wanting to donate their brains to concussion science, and also talking about football players such as Chris Borland retiring after only 1 year due to the increase of brain trauma. So now today what we're going to be doing is we're going to do our part 2 of our concussion awareness series. I'm actually going to go in depth with head athletic trainer here at Robert Morris, Mike Vitorino, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his input on concussions, how him and his staff handle concussions with a concussed athlete, and then also I myself am going to pretend to be concussed, and we are going to go through the concussion protocol here at Robert Morris. So without further ado, let's go have me get concussed. All right, Vit, what is your input on concussions in football these days?
I think as in most sports, concussions in football is a pretty important topic. The media talks about them a lot. You see a lot of the older football players, especially in the pros, having issues that can be related to head traumas, whether it's dementia or remembering or just quality of life. And then you see, just recently, like I know has been talked about with Chris Borland. I think I saw a stat the other day that said something like 6 guys under the age of 30 have retired from football this year for various reasons. It seems like most of those had something to do with the head, one way or another. So I think it's a big deal, and obviously it's on the NFL's forefront, and that's trickling down to the college level. So they're important. You see a lot of different helmets being developed to try to prevent. You're never going to eliminate concussions from the sport. We can have all the rules, we can have all the safety equipment, but until you stop the brain actually from moving inside the head, which can't really happen, you're not going to eliminate them. So I think we have to just educate ourselves. We have to be able to recognize them, and then we have to rely on the student athletes to tell us when they're not feeling quite right themselves, and go from there. So we try to do a good job here at Robert Morris educating our student athletes beforehand. We give them different material. We send out a video. We tell them the signs and symptoms, and then we have to have them tell us, or a teammate tell us about them, so we then can handle it to the best of our abilities with my staff and our doctors.
When a concussion does occur, whether it be in football or any other RMU athletic activity, just kind of give us a brief breakdown on how you or your staff members kind of go through the process of handling an athlete with a concussion.
All right. So on the football field, if someone gets hit in the head, and either we see the hit, or a coach sees the hit, or another player sees the hit, or the athlete comes and tells us, hey, look, I'm just not feeling right. Myself or one of our team physicians will go through a thorough eval and looking for different signs and symptoms. We'll ask them certain questions. We'll just kind of evaluate them on the sideline. Once we think a concussion has been sustained, that athlete is held from competition the rest of that day, and then they're put into our concussion protocol. That athlete will then be given a sheet of kind of signs and symptoms to look for if things get worse. They're told my number to call me if anything does get worse, and then they're asked to follow up the next day. The next day we'll start doing a symptom checklist, and there's a series of different symptoms that I ask how you're feeling, and if you're having headaches, sensitivity to light, irritable, and there's probably about 15 to 20 different symptoms that we ask for, and we ask the athlete to grade them on a scale, and then we kind of total that number. Then we track that athlete's progression each day, and then we also use a software program called C3 Logic that all the athletes have baselined as another tool, and when they don't have symptoms for 24 hours, and then they're asymptomatic on the test, and the test is back to baseline, we then take them through a series of 5-step return to play. The first one might be run around for 10 minutes or get on elliptical for 10 minutes. And each day the intensity and the duration of the exercise get a little bit longer. We return them to sport, no contact first, and then limited contact, and then full contact. And as long as they stay asymptomatic, which means not having symptoms, then they are able to progress. If at any time through this return to play phase they have symptoms, then they go back to the beginning, and we start the progression of tracking their symptoms and not from there. We have a team physician, obviously, that gets involved in this pretty early, and we talk to them. It's not just the athletic trainers. It's our team physicians, and they monitor and they read the test and interpret the data on the test for us.
Okay. What exactly happens to the brain? Because like most people, when they see like a big hit in football, most people just think it's just kind of like more of a person just seeing lights or someone just kind of getting dizzy. But what actually happens to the brain when a big hit like that does occur?
Well, the brain obviously sits inside the skull, and it's able to move. So when you get a big hit like that, either in football, it slides in there and sometimes will bang against the side of the skull, and then that causes swelling. And depending on where the swelling is on that portion of the brain, depends on what symptoms you typically have. And the other thing you have to worry about sometimes is the counter force. So it's not even like when you get hit and say if your head goes back, you worry about the posterior part of your brain getting hit, but then when that brain comes forward at a force too, they can hit the front too. So like I said, as long as that brain's able to move inside the skull, which is what it needs to do, it's the way the body is designed for it to do, we're going to have concussions. We just have to find ways to minimize those and make sure the athletes know the importance of them and what can happen if they don't go untreated or they continue to play and get another hit.
Okay. And then last question here a bit. As players get like bigger and faster and stronger with the new like increases in sports science and physical training, where do you see concussions down the road? Do you see the percentage of concussions increasing, decreasing? Like the awareness of concussions getting better? Where do you see that?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the NFL just released a study that since they've started worrying about the hits that they have, their numbers have gone down. Now, that was only a year, so could that be an abnormality and it was just a weird year and people, I think it's tough to project where they see. I think we can just make sure we keep educating, have coaches educate on tackling and the hits to the head and not leading with your head and not hitting other teammates or other players in the head. So hopefully they go down. I think the technology with the helmets is helping because it does reduce some force, but still that brain's still moving. But I hope they go down, but I think it's a lot of big process with education, technology, and then the athletes themselves making sure they're aware of how to tackle somebody, but not lose the physicality of the game. And I think that's what you're seeing with a lot of in the NFL at least, a lot of the guys that are having trouble with the new rules. They're the older guys that could do whatever, and the rules weren't there in college. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dad.
Yep.
All right, guys. Right now, I'm getting ready to do the concussion protocol with Mike Vittorino. He's going to ask me some general questions, and then we're going to go through some balance tests and whatever else he has up his sleeve. So right now, I am concussed, and we're going to take it away with Vic here.
All right. So since you got hurt yesterday, I'm going to ask you some symptoms, and I want you to rate them on a scale of 0 to 6. 0 being not there at all, 6 being the worst thing you've ever had in your life. So
Okay.
Headache.
3.
Pressure in the head.
4.
Neck pain.
2.
Any nausea or vomiting since it happened.
5.
Any dizziness.
4.
Any light bothering you? Any bright lights? Anything bothering you?
2.
No. 2. What about noise? Have you any instances about noises or anything?
No, probably 1.
1. Okay. Feeling slowed down?
Yeah, 3.
Feeling like in a fog, and I always tell people this is like kind of living life in standard def, not high def.
Well, yeah, 4.
4. Okay. Did you go to class today?
No.
No. Okay. Any difficulty concentrating? Did you try to read or try to do any work or?
No, I haven't done anything. Just laid around all day.
Do you remember everything? Any difficulty remembering anything?
No, not for the most part. I have a good understanding of what I've done so far.
Okay. Any feeling of fatigue or low energy?
A little bit.
Confusion?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Any drowsiness?
A little bit, about 3.
Any trouble falling asleep last night?
No.
Any more emotional than normal? No. Good. Irritable?
Yeah.
Can you give me a scale?
Probably 3.
Sadness?
No.
Nervous or anxious?
Yeah, 4.
Sleeping more than usual?
I slept a lot today, so yeah, a bit more than usual.
Sleeping less than usual. Difficulty when you sleep. Do you sleep pretty soundly, or are you waking up a lot?
Yeah, no, I slept pretty good for the most part.
Any ringing in the ears?
After it happened, yeah, but as of right now, no.
Okay, yeah. Any numbness or tingling anywhere? Good. Have you done any physical activity?
No.
Okay. Have you tried to do any mental activity?
No.
Okay, good. So what we do, we'll add those up, and then tomorrow at the same time, I'm gonna have you come back,
Okay.
and we'll track those and go from there. So,
Okay.
if I can have you sit up there real quick for me, we're just gonna check some eyes, and
Okay.
of course I don't have a pen light with me, but that's all right. So, what we're gonna do first, I'm just gonna have you keep your head still. I'm gonna move my pen, and I want you with your eyes just to track them. So, all right. And here we're just making sure that your eyes are tracking okay, and not jumping around too much on us. Because sometimes with these things, you know that the optic nerves and all those eye muscles and nerves can be affected too. So, all right, and we're just gonna come forward. Good, good. Eyes are moving good, which is always a good sign. Close your eyes for me real quick. Open. Good. I just want to make sure those pupils were reacting. I'm gonna have you stand up. I'm gonna check your balance real quick today, and that's probably all we're gonna do today.
Okay.
So, all right. So we're just gonna stand there, feet closed, and then we're just gonna close those eyes. Good. Open real quick. We're gonna have you stand on what leg would you kick a ball with?
Right leg.
All right. I'm gonna have you stand on your left leg then.
Okay.
Close your eyes again. That's all right. Alright, good. Now the last one, we're going to have you put your right foot in front of your left foot.
Okay.
Stand like that, and then close those eyes again. Good. Alright. With having a little bit of trouble with that, we're not going to go to the phone. Balance uneven will stay on this surface today.
Okay.
Once you do good on that, we'll move from there. So what I would recommend is, since you're still pretty symptomatic, stay away from video games, TV. Try to stay in a nice controlled environment. Rest that brain as much as we can. If obviously class is important, so if you need to go to class, but we'll deal with that. And then I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll track these symptoms again, and once we get down to a point, we'll have you retake that C3 logic test that you took baseline. And once all those look good and doc says you're okay, we'll progress you and hopefully get back on the field soon.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Cool. All right, guys, there you go. That's how we do a concussion protocol test. Vit, real quick, you said the C3, is that what's just kind of tell the viewers what all do concussion people do on the C3 testing?
Okay, well, there's the C3 logic test is a neuropsych test that is on the iPad. It's one of many. Impact here in Pittsburgh is obviously big. We use a C3 logic here. And it looks at reaction time, it looks at memory, it looks at some visual different things. We have all of our kids take a baseline before they start hitting in football. And then once we think they sustain a concussion, we have them do it again, and they can tell us if you're down in reaction time or if you're down in memory. It does that balance that I just did there. It takes that, and it can look at your sway because the iPad actually straps to your back, and it can look at your sway. So it's a good test. It looks at a lot of different things, but all it is a tool. The biggest thing is getting to know our athletes and knowing if they don't seem right. If that tool, even that says you're okay, you might have symptoms. The symptoms might be zero, but that still shows your reaction time. So we use a battery of different things to make sure that the brain is fully healed before we try to get them back on the football field.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ben.
No problem.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm here at the athletic training facilities at Robert Morris University. If you have any comments, put at the bottom of the page. Like us on Facebook at PittsburghHealthHub.com. And always remember, with your help, we can make the Steel City strong. We'll see you next week, guys.